Today's session, this is the second lecture of the 10 to 12 week series on the HUM-Pudiodor digital, in the HUM-Pudiodor digital literacy program. And the last lecture was on computers. And today's lecture is going to be on computer networks. So you saw, we talked about computer basics and operation in the last lecture. And in today's lecture, like I said, is all about computer networks and internet and Wi-Fi and that kind of stuff. So these are all some things I'm expecting that at the end of the session, end of the week, the Monday session and the Thursday session, you should be able to answer questions like, what is a computer network? You should be able to, actually the second question is incorrect. It should read, why should you learn about computer networks, right? In the last lecture, the question was, why should you learn about computers? Now the question is, why should you learn about computer networks? Then you should be able to talk about what is a cellular or mobile network, what is the internet, what is Wi-Fi, then do computers have names? You are familiar with websites. Do websites have names? Then in the towards the end, I do talk a little bit about what a cloud is in the internet space. You know what a cloud is from, in terms of the clouds in the sky, but this is kind of just a notion. By notion, I mean just a particular concept in the space of internet. The reason we will talk about cloud is many of you will end up using Google Drive. Google Drive is kind of a cloud. There are, this area, networks is more challenging to teach than just computers, partly because the concepts can get pretty deep. Even I found as I was developing the presentation, some of the things that I was adding were becoming more advanced. So what I did was the first set of slides that I created, they became a bit more advanced. So I moved them to an advanced topic section. So the whole topic is divided into two parts, basic topics and advanced topics. In this particular lecture, I will focus on the basic topics. But I'm open to, if anybody has questions on advanced topics, I will definitely, I'm approachable. You can text me. And there is a part of the presentation that I'll send after the lecture where you will see slides on advanced topic also. Anybody who's interested in advanced topics can take a look at it. You may be a first-time student learning about computers and networks, or you could be doing your BCA, BCom degree, college degree, but there are some concepts you did not know. You can still go and look at it, and there are some interesting things there. This time, per the request received, I've added 2 quiz segments where basically we'll make it a little interactive. So I ask questions. You are welcome to answer the questions either using by unmuting or by using your chat to record your answer. And so that's something we will do for interactive. The interactive side of it. So this is a refresher from the last lecture. These are all the different kinds of computers that you saw. And in Thursday, Nitya and Madhura walked you through it again, what the different kinds of computers there are. Then, so having said that, let's step into the basic topics section. The first question is, what is a computer network? Okay, so look at the picture. There are 2 parts to the pictures here. Look at the picture to the bottom left, which is basically if you have your mobile phones, and when you talk to somebody, you're having a phone conversation, right? The signal from your mobile phone, today you don't care about what happens to your signal because it just works, right? If it does not work, then you are worried about the mobile tower close to your home. You're worried about whether your 4G signal is working correctly. You're worried about whether your SIM card package, you have finished paying it off and you have to charge it again, right? Only then you start worrying about the signal. But there's a lot of stuff, many things that are there behind the scene, where the signals actually go from your mobile phone through mobile towers, through satellites, all of that, and to go to the person you're talking to. That whole thing we call actually a cellular or mobile network. And when we do in the area of computers, for a network, we normally use a symbol that looks like a cloud, okay? That orange thing you see here, that is a cloud symbol. When you're doing any presentation or Word document, you can actually insert a cloud symbol if you're talking about networks. And we almost always use a cloud because inside that cloud there can be a lot of things. We don't care. For us, the whole idea is that that network works for us. The idea that it works and the idea that it connects to mobile phones is what is of interest to us. So that's what happens when you have a phone conversation. Now, what happens when you are actually sending an email, right? You are sending an email. Look at the picture on the right. You may be sending an email from either your mobile phone, or you could be sending from your laptop. Somehow the email gets from one computer to the other computer. Unlike a phone conversation, which typically uses a mobile network, emails use a computer network. A computer network, the cloud that is shown in yellow here, is nothing but all of the equipment, right? You can have all different kinds of equipment there. You can have satellites, you can have cables, you can have some big servers in big far off places, all of them working together to make your email delivery work. The moment you hit send on for the email button, the send button, then something magically makes that email appear at the other end. That whole magic and how it works is put in that yellow cloud, what we call the computer network. So what is a computer network? It is nothing but, it can be the smallest computer network, can be you connect two computers using the right equipment, okay? Just connecting two computers by a cable is not going to work. You have to have the correct equipment, the correct setup. The focus of this discussion is not to talk about what kind of network equipment and how to set it up, because that is too deeper thing. But if anybody is interested, we can always talk about it in some later lecture series or offline. So a computer network is two or more. Just one computer having its own network, sure, it can have a network, but it has nobody to talk to, right? So we say two or more networks that are connected together in a way where you can actually have some meaningful activity. What is that meaningful activity? Basically, on that computer network, you can send email. You should be able to have the two computers talk together. You should be able to do email. You should be able to do video conferencing like the Zoom we are doing right now. How are we doing Zoom? For Zoom, I have my laptop here in the United States, and then you all have your mobile phones, and some of you have computers at home. We are all connecting together through God knows how many different computers, right? Maybe hundreds of computers, servers are there along the way, maybe a couple of satellites, maybe a couple of cables in the ocean. I say cables in the ocean, and that is true. Internet cables actually are laid in the oceans. I will not talk a lot about it, but it is there in the advanced topics section. Network can be wired or it can be wireless. Wireless meaning it uses basically signals in the air, the way today you can use your radio or your TV with an antenna, right? You can basically grab the signal from the air. That way wireless also works with signals in the air. You can have wired also. Wired means there is a cable that comes out of the computer. It will go to some other equipment, and eventually it may go through a wire to some broadband internet. Terms like broadband I will use, but it only means very high speed internet. So now we go into why should we learn about computer networks. In Mondays and Thursdays class, you were all told why you need to learn about computers, right? Now we are going one step deeper. Why do we want to know about computer networks? Is it not just enough to know about only computers? Actually, no. Why? You see top left, all people today are connected through computer networks, actually what we call the internet, which I will get to. They're all connected. All people are connected through the internet, through WhatsApp, which requires the internet, right? Through Facebook, through a lot of different ways. Then a good many of basically almost most of the offices, whether you talk in the US, Europe, and many in India, they're all connected to the internet today, which is the bottom left. Government offices are actually on the internet. Can everybody go on mute, please? Government offices are on the internet today. For example, your Tamil Nadu government, right? If your property document, I think it is called Pata or something in Tamil Nadu, how to actually apply for it is all on the internet, on the web today, World Wide Web. So offices, governments, hospitals, business websites, they're all on the government. And then we should not forget the top right? The companies that provide a lot of web internet related information and application services. Google. Today, Google search all happens on the internet. Amazon, they sell a lot of products, right? They sell right from selling a pen to selling a computer to selling diapers for children. They sell it through the Amazon store. It is all online. So the whole idea is a lot of things are online. And bottom right, people also offer online software services. What an example of such a software service is Google Drive. Google Drive lets you keep your photographs, your files, your documents. Instead of keeping it on your own mobile phone, you can actually keep it on some remote storage, remote drive that Google manages for you. All you need is a Google account, a Gmail account. So here basically we talk about all the different activities that happen over the internet. Basically you are talking from person to person using office messaging, right? WhatsApp is a messaging app. Now big companies, small companies, they all use business messaging apps, right? Some of them may use WhatsApp, some of them will use more sophisticated business messaging apps that are more secure. Then people use Google Meet, people use email, Zoom. Those are all person to person. Then there are websites and online services I talked about on the right side. All of these services, everything goes through the internet. And what is the internet? And basically for that, part that I missed is in order to survive in this world where everybody is interconnected, all computers are somehow connected to the internet. In order for us to survive means get a job, do something meaningful. Sure, there are jobs which do not require the internet, but the better paying jobs will involve using computers, networks, and the internet. So in order to survive, in order to benefit, in order to prosper in life, we need to know what computer networks are and what the internet is. So this is the picture from our computer picture from lecture 1 from last week. There is no difference. The only difference is I changed the color for the CPU in the middle. It was yellow last week. I changed it to pink. There is a reason I changed it to pink, partly because I want to stay consistent with the color scheme. I want to use green for anything that involves hard drive, Google Drive, storage, anything, memory, long-term memory, short-term memory. I want to use pink for processing, right? Processing, computation, compute, anything related to processing. Then I want to use yellow color for network, anything network related, internet related. And then you will see I use purple for web services later. So we add a couple more things for our computer diagram from last week. In the last week, we had only the input device, output device. We had the CPU, the microprocessor in the middle. We had the hard drive and the memory, random access memory in green. Now we add 2 new network hardware. Okay, so every computer today comes with this yellow bit of hardware. It is called network. It is called network hardware. It is called network processing unit, right? It can be for wired network, or it can be for wireless network, what we call Wi-Fi. Now mobile phones have this additional thing at the bottom. They have basically hardware for cellular network processing. So like how to handle 3G signals, how to handle 4G signals. Those are very unique to mobile phones, and they are there in some tablets. If they're there in a tablet, the tablet is very expensive. If it is not there in the tablet will be cheaper. But the yellow part is there in all computers today, because that's the only way to connect. Now we start getting a little deeper into what happens when you are talking on the phone, or what happens when you are emailing somebody, and so on. Now imagine basically a boy in Chennai, he's doing a phone call, right? And he's doing a phone call to some, let's say, a girl in New York. New York is in the United States of America, right? So it is so far away. It is across the continents, across the oceans. But today you can have this phone conversation. How does it work? Basically, your Jio or Airtel mobile carrier company that actually has your signals go through a lot of different things, like a mobile tower, maybe satellites, and eventually it will land on the other side, where it will also be supported by companies that are like Jio and Airtel. In the US, they are called AT&T and Verizon. And there are other companies also, but these are the 2 big ones. And then those companies will, from their mobile tower, deliver the signal to her mobile phone. This whole thing in the middle between these 2 people, we call that a cellular or mobile network. Okay, cellular or mobile network is any of these network of connected computers, mobile towers, satellites, everything that enables or makes it easy for somebody in Chennai to talk to New York, and somebody could be in New Delhi and talking to somebody in Beijing, China, but all of that is made possible by a cellular network. I bring the cellular network, start with it because you all have mobile phones, and you are very familiar with the mobile phone technology, mobile phone networks. A cellular network is a mobile network. Now, what happens if you're doing WhatsApp, right? Today, actually, WhatsApp, the beauty of mobile networks is it also helps you connect to the internet, to connect you to the internet and use basically applications that are internet-based applications, right? In this diagram, I do not show how the internet is connected, but without you using a Wi-Fi, without you directly connecting to an internet, your Jio and Airtel mobile carrier somehow uses its cellular mobile network to connect to the internet. So we don't show how that happens here. But when you use WhatsApp from, say, you are in Chennai and the boy is in New York and they are exchanging WhatsApp messages, it works today because your Jio and Airtel carrier makes it work for you. Okay. So that the mobile network is basically, many years ago, it was not connected to the internet, many years ago, right, when it first came out. But now everything, your own mobile phone, actually all the software operating system it has can handle all internet applications like WhatsApp. So now we get into what Wi-Fi is, okay? We start with the symbols. What are the symbols used for Wi-Fi? On your mobile phone, you are very familiar with the bars that show up for how many bars, how many signals, how strong your signal is for mobile phone. One of the problems is some of these symbols are not standardized, meaning there is no standard way to show mobile signal strength and Wi-Fi's presence of Wi-Fi and not absence of Wi-Fi, right? So there are the stuff in blue on the left here that shows all the different ways the symbol shows up either on your mobile phone or on computers. So on mobile phone, almost always you have this symbol on the left where you actually have those semicircular blue things radiating out of that blue circle. That's a very standard way that is used in all mobile phones. But when you come to computers that run Windows, right, they have kept changing it from window version to window version. The older window versions used to show it like bars, right? So if you go into any office, any learning center, any school, college, which is running Windows 8, you may see that kind of symbol there. Apparently, Windows 10 uses this other symbol here, which is more closely resembles the symbol on the mobile phones. What is Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is a wireless network that you create locally. Locally meaning it has some distance. It can work only for 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, basically 30 feet, 40 feet, 60 feet, like that. So if you set up Wi-Fi in your office, if you set up Wi-Fi in your home, it will have basically there is some distance over which that signal operates. Beyond that distance, that signal becomes very, very weak, and so your Wi-Fi wireless network does not go beyond that distance. And in many Indian homes, you have the walls and the ceiling will have RCC, reinforced cement concrete, which can have steel, which can have metal. When you have steel and metal, the signals actually become worse. So if you have like a 2-story, 3-story, or by 2-story, 3-story, I mean multiple floors in one building, right? So on the ground floor, if somebody has Wi-Fi on the next floor above, it is harder to get that Wi-Fi from the ground floor because of all these metal in the ceiling. So what does the Wi-Fi, how do you get your Wi-Fi? You normally get a Wi-Fi through a Wi-Fi router and a modem. Modem is something that translates one kind of signal into another kind of signal. But for now, just think of it as a Wi-Fi router and modem. In today's world, it comes together. The router and the modem come together, but you can also have separate router, separate modem. So if you get Wi-Fi from Jio, Wi-Fi support from Jio or Airtel, it will basically be something that comes as a router and a modem that talks to cellular networks, mobile, the Jio network or the Airtel network. But you can also get connect to the internet, the yellow cloud in there, without using Jio, without using Airtel. There are companies like ACT that provide high-speed internet connection that is wired, meaning they run a wire to your house or your office. ACT is one that I have used in India. I'm not familiar with other companies, but I'm very sure they are there. All computers, mobile phones, tablets, they almost always connect to the internet through a Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi network is the small cloud, and the router modem will allow you to have multiple computers connect to your Wi-Fi and route all of your signals and data to the internet. Okay. Now, Wi-Fi network, each Wi-Fi network typically has a name. So when somebody sets up a Wi-Fi network, say you bring a Jio or Airtel modem, router modem at home, you can actually set up a name for the Wi-Fi network, and you can also set up a password. So that way, your data on your wireless network is safe. Nobody else can actually listen in on what YouTube programs you watch, right? So the key message from this slide is Wi-Fi is the way you connect your computers to the internet, and you can get Wi-Fi by using Wi-Fi routers and modems. Those routers and modems, you can get it from Jio, Airtel, ACT, and so on. And Wi-Fi networks will typically have a name and a password. But if you go to a very public place like an airport or railway station or malls, you may have free Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. Hello? Hello? Question? Okay. So free Wi-Fi's typically don't have passwords. So if your computer can detect that Wi-Fi, you can connect to it because it is free. Now, what is the internet? Now, let's say you have this boy in Chennai on the left. He has Wi-Fi at home or in the office, and this boy is in New York. He is in his own home or office, and he has Wi-Fi in his home or office, and the Wi-Fi lets him connect to the internet. And even though they use mobile phones and they use mobile phones and they're using WhatsApp, let's say, actually, if you have Wi-Fi connected on your mobile phone, all mobile phones are designed to use the Wi-Fi for internet applications. Today, you can have even your phone conversation go over the internet. There are settings in your Android phone where you can say, if I'm doing a phone call, make it go over Wi-Fi. Okay. Or you can make the phone call go over cellular modem. If you make it go over your mobile network, it will cost more because Jio, Airtel will charge by how many gigabytes of bandwidth to use. Typically, if you have free Wi-Fi or you're already paying monthly for your Wi-Fi, either home or somebody gives it free to you in college or office, it is better to use the Wi-Fi because cost-wise, it is far cheaper for internet application activities like WhatsApp. So now we go to how does your computer with all the different parts in it, how do they connect to the internet? We talked about the network hardware that helps us connect to the Wi-Fi. So you can see the yellow network hardware that connects to the yellow Wi-Fi cloud. And from the yellow Wi-Fi cloud through the router and modem will connect to the broader internet, which is everything else. outside of your office, outside of your home. And the bottom part is you already know your cellular modem hardware in your mobile phone lets you connect with the mobile network, right? So this is a full picture of the internet. What this shows is everybody, what is the internet? The internet is the interconnected network, meaning my network, your network, everybody's network, government network, railway network, Amazon network, Google network, all of them, millions to billions of computers, they're all interconnected, and that interconnection where you know how to get from one particular website to another website, how to get from one computer to another computer, that whole thing we call the internet. So you could be using Office messaging, Google Meet, Zoom, email, all of stuff that we have discussed so far. Okay. I think now we'll probably be getting into the quiz section. So there are 5 questions in this quiz section. I will use the same model that Nitya and Madhura used on Thursday. What you all can do is for each question, the questions are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For the questions, you can actually respond by entering your response through the chat response on Zoom. Are you all ready for the quiz? You can answer yes. Okay, I'm going to pretend you're all ready. So the first question is, in the picture, you have a mobile phone, you have a laptop, and you have a Wi-Fi router. The question is this a computer network?
Yes, sir.
Very good. This is a computer network. What did we say a computer network is? A computer network is nothing but 2 or more computers, any kind of computer, that are connected in a way where you can actually talk to each other, meaning you can email, you can do anything. So on a local office or home network, in principle, you can actually do messaging. Today, apps are not there for that kind of messaging, but in principle, you can. But there are a lot of other things that are possible on home networks. For example, you can have your own private website on your home Wi-Fi. Okay, very private website. Those are all the things possible. So it is a computer network. Second question. Now, this boy is talking on the mobile phone to that girl on the mobile phone. What kind of network is it?
Cellular network, sir.
Fantastic. Very good. Anybody else? Everybody agree that it is a cellular network? Vinod, do you agree?
Sir.
What is another word for a cellular network? Another couple of words.
Yes, sir. Cellular network, sir.
What else do we call a cellular network?
Aha.
What do you call your phone?
Sir, புரியலையே.
Mobile phone, right?
Yes, sir.
So cellular network can be what? Mobile network.
Mobile network, sir.
Yeah. Another way to say cellular network is a mobile network.
Yes, sir.
Now going to the third question. The lady on the left, let's say she's emailing or she's doing office messaging to the gentleman on the right. they're using their office Wi-Fi, and it is going through something. What kind of network is this? What is that big cloud?
Wi-Fi. Sir, Wi-Fi நினைக்கிறேன்.
Wi-Fi is what is there in the office, right? What is the big yellow cloud?
What network is
What is that biggest computer network that connects millions of computers all together?
Internet, sir.
Internet, very good. So internet, that big yellow cloud is called the internet. Without the internet, that lady cannot send the email to that gentleman on the right. Today, if you use Google search, the Google search is not possible without that big yellow cloud. That is the internet. Internet is the network of all possible computers connected to each other in various different ways. Okay. So something you have to remember, internet is the reason you're able to have Zoom today. Internet is the reason you're able to have Google Meet. Internet is the reason you can send email. Internet is the reason you can do WhatsApp. If there is no internet, there is no WhatsApp. Okay. All right. Moving to the fourth question. The question is, the boy on the left is talking to the girl on the right. He is using his mobile phone. The mobile phone is connected to for the boy home Wi-Fi, for the girl on the office Wi-Fi, and then the Wi-Fi connects to the internet. Now, can you have a phone conversation that goes over the internet? There are only two answers, right? One is yes, the other is no. So you will be 50% right or 50% wrong. Anybody wants to try? Dhanush? Shilpa? Monica? Vinod? The answer is yes or the answer is no?
Yes.
Yes. Today, a phone conversation is possible. Basically, you can do phone conversation from mobile phone to mobile phone that goes entirely through the internet, through Wi-Fi and the internet. Actually, if you get very cheap Wi-Fi connectivity, and your let's say your mobile carrier charges you a lot of money for mobile phone conversation, it may be cheaper to actually do it over Wi-Fi. But phone conversations over Wi-Fi may not be as great as cellular mobile network phone conversation, because if it is free, sometimes it is not the most reliable. But it is possible, and then that means the mobile phone can be replaced by any computer, desktop to desktop, or then basically laptop to laptop, laptop to desktop. You can have like a phone conversation over the internet. Now, this is a more difficult question. This is pictures 5 and 6. In picture 5, you have laptop trying to get to google.com, okay? and all they have is the office Wi-Fi. And in the second picture, they have a laptop trying to get to google.com, and the office Wi-Fi goes through the internet and through a Google network to a Google computer. So which picture is the correct picture? Is 5 correct or 6 correct or both correct?
Wi
Both, sir.
Wi-Fi, sir.
Okay, everybody likes Wi-Fi here, right?
Yes, sir.
Actually, the answer is no. 6 is correct because you need that internet cloud, the yellow cloud. Google is not connected to your Wi-Fi. Google is connected to the internet cloud. Using your Wi-Fi, you can get to the internet, but without the internet, you cannot have Google. You cannot do Google search.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So you have to
Okay, sir.
understand one thing. The internet is the reason you can do Google search. That big yellow cloud there is what we show as the internet. You have to remember, without the internet, you cannot go to any website. You cannot do Google search. You cannot do WhatsApp. So this the diagram is to help you understand the difference between office, your Wi-Fi and the internet. Wi-Fi is very local. It is only in your home or only in your office. Internet is basically it is connected across countries, across cities, across continents, right? Google, let's say Google's servers are running in the United States. How do you get from Chennai to Google servers in the United States? You have to go through the internet. Your Wi-Fi is only 30 to 60 feet. Okay, so we move on from this quiz time. Next, we go to what are names and addresses on the internet, right?
Yes, sir.
In the top half of the picture, we are all humans, right? We call ourselves humans. We are basically boys, girls, men, women, children. This is our world of humans, and that is the picture of Chennai actually. And in our world of humans, we all have names, right? My name is Sudhir. We have other kids on the students on the call. You all have your own name. Why do we have a name? We need to differentiate ourselves, meaning Vinod is different from Monica, Monica is different from Dharani, Sudhir is different from Dharani, right? So somebody can call me Sudhir, then I know I'm being called, right? If somebody can say hello Sudhir, that means they're saying hello to me and not to Vinod. So we all have names. There is a reason we have names. And then where you live, where you stay, where you live, you have an address. Your address on the right side, top right, can be it can be like door number something 123. It can be some main road, fourth main road, fifth main road. Then there's a small area called some Ambattur, and then there's a big city called Chennai, and then you are in Tamil Nadu. So you have an address. The address is a way to locate you. Meaning, if somebody wants to send you something, how do I know how to locate you? That is the address. Now, in your address, how do I locate Vinod? Or in my address, how do I locate Sudhir? I locate Sudhir by name, right? First I locate my house, then inside my house I locate by name. The world of computers and the internet is not very different. So bottom left, you can see you can give names for computers. For example, on your local Wi-Fi, you can give your computer a name of Hercules. Okay, you can also call the computer Hanuman if you like. You can give it any name. You can call it Jimmy if you like. Computers can have addresses. Okay, So the addresses, they have basically, it is there are 4 numbers in the address. Just remember, the kind of numeric address is not very important to know, but if you ever see it somewhere, if somebody asks you your IP address, it is something like in the bottom right. For example, Google computer may have a numeric address like 172.217.164.68. So it is not too important for you right now, but at some point, if somebody asks you what is your computer's network and IP address, that is what they want. They want that number address. But all of us are more comfortable with actual names, which is why we give names. We give names for computers like Hercules, then if it is on the internet, hercules.google.com. Now, people can have names on the internet. Typically, we use their email address for people. So a name like Shalini@gmail.com is the name of a person whose name is Shalini, who uses Gmail for her email address. And that will be her name on the internet, which uniquely identifies who she is on the internet. So this is to get into more details about when you have names on the internet. They will take different forms. It can be computer name, any computer name .google.com. The computer name can be Hercules, can be Hanuman. If it is a website, it will have a World Wide Web name .google.com or World Wide Web name .amazon.com, right? And the World Wide Web name, many of them just use www. Some of them use computer names, and some use their department name. The department could be finance, then it can be finance.google.com. Or if the department name is finance or Pudiodor.org, right? Then it will be finance.pudiodor.org. Then for email address, you can have any name at gmail.com, any name at yahoo.com. For email addresses, we use the @ symbol, the A with the circle around it. Then for all others, we use the dot. And the yellow part is called the domain name. What is the domain? I will get to domain names later. Fundamentally, domain is different from people. It is different from servers. Okay, so it is different from computers. So we'll get to that later. Here are more examples of how names on the internet look like. The top 4 are all websites, and the bottom 2 are email addresses. So the top 4 are all websites. You can have names like www.amazon.com, news.bbc.co.uk. Basically, for domain name, you can have .com at the end. You can have .org. Org means organization. Com means company. Some of them have basically the initial letters for the name of a country. For example, news.bbc.co.uk. UK means United Kingdom, right? So that is a website from the United Kingdom. Karmicare.in. In means India. So karmicare.in basically is a website from India. Pudiodor.org. Org means it's an organization, and typically org is used for organizations that are NGOs like that. Now for the email addresses, you can have HUM-India.org. We already saw gmail.com. You can have Pudiodor.org. Then the names, you can have usernames. You can have Shalini. You can have any kind of username. Somebody who monitors the info at Pudiodor.org. It can be somebody working in Pudiodor who monitors that info in Pudiodor.org email address. For HUM-India.org, which is our email address, we have an email address called donor care. I monitor that thing. So now getting into what are domain names. So think of you live in Chennai Chennai is in Tamil Nadu, India, and Chennai is part of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is part of India, right? These are all geographic regions that are there. And within the geographic region, you try to say where your address is. So that's how you define where you live. A domain is nothing but it is a region within the internet. And for the region, we give a name, and people will have ownership of a region. For example, google.com is a domain name, and Google owns that domain. Today, anybody, if you, Vinod, you want to own a domain, you can buy and purchase a domain called vinod.com. So it's nothing but it's a division of all the regions in the internet where the one or more domains are owned by companies or people. Okay. So for example, HUM-India.org is owned by HUM, us people. Pudiodor.org as a domain name is owned by Pudiodor. So the moment you have a named domain, then you can have websites with that domain name. You can have email address with that domain name. You can have many different things with that domain name. So what is a domain name? It is nothing but a small region of the internet which has a name, and it is owned by a company or some person. Now we get into what is a website. Look at the lady on the left. She is sitting in her office. She has her office Wi-Fi that connects to the internet. She is using a web browser. What is a web browser? A web browser, basically on your mobile phones, which is Android. I think the web browser that is on Android, it is either called Chrome or Chromium, and it allows you to actually do Google search. It allows you to go anywhere on the internet where you know a website name, right? A website is nothing but basically a named area in the internet which actually you can connect to using a web browser. So this lady may enter http://www.google.com. The moment she enters that and hits return, what happens is her web browser will go contact over the internet, will contact a Google computer, a Google server, using the domain name google.com. Okay, it will go use the domain name google.com and contact. So remember, just like your address in India, Ambattur, right? We can uniquely know where you live. Just like that, the moment you know the domain name on the internet, we can uniquely know how to talk to you. So if you say www.google.com, it is very unique. We know how to talk to a web server that is run on a Google computer somewhere, and that somewhere is on the right side, right? The moment that web server is contacted by your web browser, it sends you, yes, Vinod, question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So that web server returns information. It returns a web page, which you see at the bottom here. The white web page that you see at the bottom here, it returns that web page, and your web browser shows you that web page, which has a text box. The text box is where you put your Google search keywords, right? Supposing you're searching for Rajnikant movies, you put Rajnikant there, and then you do a Google search. So what is a website? A website is a unique name, a web name, and I will get to what a World Wide Web is, or what a web is a web name and address on the internet. And that address almost always is www.domain name. It can also be news.co.uk, news.bbc.co.uk, which we saw before. It can be computername.pudiodor.org, right? So it is nothing but a unique name on the internet where a server is listening, and that server can be contacted by a web browser. And on your Android mobile phones, you use web browser called Chrome and Chromium. When you're working on Windows, a web browser is called Internet Explorer. Then there are free web browsers called Firefox. Firefox is available for mobile phones for download. Firefox is available for Windows for download. It is available for almost all platforms. You can download Firefox, it is free. So how do you get to a website? You almost always use a web browser. And what is a website? It is a unique name on the internet, and your web browser will know how to talk to that website. Now, what is the World Wide Web? Basically, the internet was the first thing that people developed, right? How to connect different computers. The World Wide Web is nothing but using the internet and using the web browser to find things on the internet, to find information, to do research, to find people, to find computers. So the moment you use a web browser, and at the other end there is some web server that is listening, and that web server is running on some computer somewhere, all of those things together, wherever everybody has a website or they run web application services, that whole thing is called the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web literally sits on top of the internet, meaning internet, think of internet as the network, and the World Wide Web is more like an application. In the first lecture last year, we talked about operating systems, we talked about application software. Now we are talking about networks, and we are talking about application software like web application servers, web application services, right? That is all in the application software space. World Wide Web, think of it as an application layer on top of the internet. So the way you get to Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, all of those today is using the World Wide Web. So the examples on the left, the lady on the left, she can go to news.google.com. She can go to www.geo.com. She can go to www.facebook.com, and so on. Now, what is a cloud? This cloud, you have to understand that we use the cloud symbol to represent networks, but there are other kinds of clouds. The internet is like a network cloud, right? Which is why we use the cloud symbol. A cloud is not in the computer space. A cloud is nothing but something that is networked or connected to each other, and it offers a very specific service. Okay, the internet is a network cloud. The very specific service it offers is talking to your computer to computer. That is the service it offers. That is why it is called it is a network cloud. It is the biggest network cloud that is there. Now we are talking about other kinds of clouds. Okay, so Google Drive is the simplest other kind of cloud you can think of. I show it in green, the green cloud that is there. It is nothing but, imagine Google, the company, takes a lot of hard drives, right? Lot of hard drives. Hard drive is where you keep storage. You keep your photos, you keep your files, you keep your media, you keep your videos. Now imagine Google, the company, has millions of hard drives, right? And all these hard drives, each hard drive, let's say, has gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes of storage capacity, right? And it is having all of the storage and storage capacity, and letting you, right, Shalini@gmail.com, keep her photo on a Google Drive which is a hard drive which could be in the United States. It could be a hard drive that Google keeps in the UK or in India, doesn't matter. But over the internet, you can store your files folders in a remote Google location. So that whole thing is called a storage cloud, because it stores your information. It gives you a service. That service is a storage service, right? So it is called a storage cloud. For the most part in your life, you don't have to worry too much about storage cloud and all that. All that you need to know is what to use Google Drive for. There are other kinds of storage clouds. Microsoft offered something called OneDrive. There are other companies that offer things called Dropbox. They're all storage. They allow you to store your things, your files, your media on their thing. Why would you store your things on their drive over the internet? Because in your mobile phone, if you have, let's say, just 16 gigabytes of memory or 8 gigabytes of memory, the moment you run out of memory, you do not have space, right? So one of the ways to manage space and get free space from somebody like Google is to use their Google Drive. You can create more space on your mobile phone by taking 2 gigabytes worth of photos and videos, sending it off, saving it on Google Drive, and you release 2 gigabytes of space on your mobile phone, which is why you would use something like Google Drive. So all these things are called Google Storage Cloud. There's something else called a compute cloud, which is what Amazon offers and even Google offers. We use the color pink for compute, processor compute, right? So what that means is Amazon will have lots of these microprocessors, right, sitting somewhere in some data center. We call it a data center, all these big servers, right? That room full of servers that are as big as refrigerators, we call that a data center. So Amazon will have lots of these servers with lots of microprocessors, everything. And what they will say is, if you have some software program that is hard to run on your mobile phone or on your computer, why is it hard to run? Because your processor may be slow. Maybe you don't have enough memory. Maybe you don't have enough storage, right? You want to run the software somewhere else. And so then you can run your software program on Amazon's processor in the pink cloud. The pink cloud is called a compute cloud. For the most part in your life, you will not run into compute cloud unless you become a software engineer and you're using Amazon web services. But otherwise, you may just use Google Drive. For example, Gautam, who is in the Pudiodor program, if he's doing photography and he's sharing photographs, let's say he's sharing pictures with some clients, maybe as a photography business, right? He wants to share pictures with a client, then he can actually put his pictures on Google Drive and give access to those pictures to his client. So something that Storage Cloud and Google Drive, they all let you do, save your mobile phone storage, computer storage, keep things outside. It also lets you share it with others. So sharing is a key enabling part of compute cloud, storage cloud, any cloud. Internet also lets you share. It's a network cloud. This is the last slide of the theory part of the presentation today. After that, we get into the practical section. Okay, so who's on the internet? We have already seen a lot of things, people on the internet, right? So people are on the internet on the left top corner. People are on the internet. Offices, governments, hospitals, businesses are on the internet. Office employees, office workers are on the internet. Top right corner, the World Wide Web, all websites, all web application services, they're all on the internet. Then cloud services, right? Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, Amazon Web Services, they're all on the internet. How do you use all of these services? How do you take advantage of the internet? How do you create a business using the internet? How do you build your business using the internet? How do you, let's say you already started your business, how do you expand your business using the internet? These are all the possibilities if you know who's on the internet. Okay, quiz time. Now, just like the last quiz, again, same thing. You can either respond using audio or you can use a chat message. The first question is, there is a name there, Pudiodor.org. So what kind of internet name is this? We saw different kinds of internet names, right? We saw computer names, we saw user names, we saw www web names, we saw domain names, we have so many things. What kind of internet name is this? Anybody wants to take a shot at it? Throw out something. Hello? All right, Monica, Vinod, you want to try?
Can we
Okay.
give them some options?
Domain, sir.
Domain name, very good. Somebody is listening. Pudiodor.org is a domain name, very good. Google.com is a domain name. Karmike.in is a domain name. Okay, so the second question, what kind of internet name is www.pudiodor.org?
Computer name, sir.
Underneath there is a computer, but it actually is a website name. Website may be served by more than one computer. So google.com, when you go to google.com, www.google.com, they may have like 100 different or 1,000 different computers serve you. So it can map to multiple. So the simpler way of saying it is a website name. Okay. So next one is, what kind of internet name is ramapriyan@yahoo.com?
Username, sir.
Yes, username and also email address, right? At the moment you use the @ symbol and you have a domain name after it, it is an email address. Now, next question, is Google Drive a cloud or a website?
Cloud, sir.
Yes, very good. It is a storage cloud. Why it is storage cloud? It lets you store your pictures, your video on Google Drive. Now, is www.amazon.com a cloud or a website or an online store?
Website, sir.
Very good. It is a website. It is also, if you go to www.amazon.com, you can buy products. So it is also an online store. Okay. Now the last one, what is that symbol? What is it
Wi-Fi,
used?
sir.
Wi-Fi. And there are other kinds of symbols on Windows. Okay.
Internet connection, sir.
All right. Now for whoever is still there, if you have time, I'll take you through a practical session. Do you have time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So we will do a practical session right now. Okay, so this screen looks a bit like Windows, right?
Yes, sir.
It is not Windows, but it looks like Windows. What you do is see here where the mouse cursor is, the bars here. If I click on the bar here, that is the symbol for the Wi-Fi. And if I click on it, there is a menu that pops up. In the first lecture, we learned that a menu is a number of options, right? A number of options that the computer gives us. So here, if I click on that symbol there, that symbol is for the Wi-Fi on this computer, and it shows a few things. And this name here, Paradox Guest, is the name of the Wi-Fi it is connected to, right? So I will go through a web browser activity, and we'll come back and do a Wi-Fi disconnect and show how to reconnect. Okay. So first we will do a web browser activity. So on something that looks like Windows, you have this symbol here that looks like the Internet Explorer. And if you click on it, it launches the web browser. Okay, so now there is, for web browsers, there is always a text box here. In the text box, you can enter www.google.com. That's how you go to any website. So now in Google, Vinod, do you know how to search on Google?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Monica, do you know how to search on Google?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So then we are not going to do search on Google. So you can enter other website names like news.bbc.co.uk. So I went to a different website. This is a BBC website. And this website presents news. Okay, so are you all familiar with the web browser now? Should we do more on the web browser, or you are already familiar?
Familiar, sir.
So you know how to go to websites, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we will not do any more on the website. We'll stop sharing. Oh, I should share. This time I'll share the desktop. We'll go back and share. Just look at the desktop now. We are going to go back to this Wi-Fi symbol. Okay, we click on it. It is connected to this Wi-Fi called Paradox Guest. Okay. So I am going to disconnect from the Wi-Fi. That's the way you disconnect. Once you disconnect, then I've lost the Zoom session from that particular computer, so which means you cannot see the screen again. Okay. But the same symbol, if you click on it again, it will let you connect to a Wi-Fi network that is close by. And you may have multiple Wi-Fi networks that are close by. One of them may be your own, and there may be others that are your neighbors. Of course, you will not know the password for your neighbors' networks, but if you have your own Wi-Fi, you will know the name and the password, and then you can actually set up connect to it using a password. So I showed a disconnect and I lost the connection to the